Raisin Bread. I felt suspicious because it was 2 a.m. and I was carrying a loaf of raisin bread through Bushnell Park. But there's no reason to feel suspicious just because you're carrying a loaf of raisin bread through Bushnell Park at 2 a.m. But I did feel suspicious. I tried to hide the loaf of raisin bread behind me as I walked. It certainly must have looked suspicious. Love poem for Miss X. Who will be taking Virginia out tonight? Who will be the first and the last to call her name out loud while she's taking a bath in holy distress with both of her feet planted firmly on the windowsill? O Virginia, messenger of spirits which play in a devilish ring, a swirling holy dervish around your panicked head, writing your poems ode to dopamine and insomniacal duet for two, as you create instant revelry and logic out of chaos and confusion and endless turmoil. Tuesday is your aim, O Virginia, who will be taking you out tonight? Sleep softly tonight, Virginia, don't stay awake for me. Sunday is electric. Sunday is a cruel world, the asphyxiation, the time bomb, the early morning rise to Calvary. Hey, Sister Ray, you look to me to be an ordinary angel. Why don't you cook me up a large selection of electrically frosted flakes? The immolation of John P. Salt. Buses annoyed him, were too slow and tedious. Drivers were hostile. He felt like pushing automobiles off the road. He took a jump start and dived down the sidewalk. He didn't like waiting in line. Stores annoyed him. Being in a store was like being amidst a mass of numbers and products, a world of saddles buying things. He shot through the store, pushing a shopping cart ahead of him like a tank or a knife. His dreams were a cakewalk where the only prize was sleeplessness. Trauma-induced trauma. He rolled around beneath the blankets as if there were a war going on inside his head. All sorts of characters were having a riot where the loser takes all. Time was what was most important. He was spellbound by the most intricate details of being alive. He charted within himself every nuance of the day's events. His heart was a furnace which immolated all activity. Laundry, or what have you been doing the past 2 or 3 years? An old friend of mine, whom I hadn't seen for 2 or 3 years, came up to me and said, I haven't seen you for 2 or 3 years, what have you been doing? I've been doing my laundry for the past 2 or 3 years, I told him. Then I added, I have a lot of laundry. The Jesus and Mary poems. 1. Prelude. Jesus and Mary sit alone in their separate rooms. They have been apart for 6 or 7 centuries. No one seems to notice them anymore. 2. In the old days. Mary offers Jesus a beer. He says, my name ain't Jesus. My disciples don't even follow me. They don't liken me to anything much more than a perpetual bachelor. 3. Joseph. Joseph was a simple man. He made love to all sorts of strangers as they entered his house. He cuffed the hubcap once with his left arm tied to a tree. Joseph's life is much more difficult than the life of Jesus. Kitchen duties. Jesus' kitchen duties include sweeping the floor and taking the dog out for walks. Jesus' home life is rather boring. 5. Jesus and the disciples. Jesus tells jokes to his disciples. They don't think for a moment that these jokes are wise tales. They'd like to slap him on the side of the head. 6. Birthday party for Jesus. The disciples hold a party for Jesus. There's lots of wine and loose women. A garage band performs Jimi Hendrix. Jesus sits in a corner and says nothing. 7. Postlude. Jesus joins a Buddhist group. How dare I dare? How dare I be psychologically incorrect? How dare I be philosophically inconsistent? How dare I stare at Neptune? How dare I smell like Ravi Shankar? How dare I smell? How dare I contest America's infatuation with the automobile? How dare I dare refuse to be erect? How dare I dare refuse to watch television? How dare I dare think the world is hell? How dare I dare think heaven exists elsewhere? How dare I dare think I might die in 2 seconds? How dare I dare be alive and well? How dare I dare talk in circles? How dare I dare think geometry is stupid? How dare I dare be so unintellectual? How dare I dare be so bold and perceptive? How dare I dare be fraught with contusion? How dare I dare be so drab and reproachful? How dare I dare be whatever it is you think I am not? Salome. Salome, when she danced, asked for the Baptist pants. Instead, she got his head on a pewter platter, brought in by a Herod soldier, and placed upon her bed. All Herod did was pat her. She was the first, she was the first, she was the first, she was the first, she was the first ecdysiast of the first Mad Hatter. Pet disease. It's 7:30 a.m. I'm sitting early in a room. I have my hat on. I live in hats, layers of coats, and socks the whole year around. Some people I know. Frank is possessed by a spooky vision. He is the mysterious traveler. He walks through walls. He disappears suddenly, then reappears again. He comes and goes, talking of Michelangelo. He takes off his shoes before riding in the elevator. Craig carries 7 umbrellas with him as he walks through the morning twilight. He dazes his view. He rides night ponies and he eats delicious desserts. He's always on time. Buzz was once the Holy Spirit, but now he knows better. He has taken his stroll on the leash of Prolixen. He digs ditches for the Archaeological Society. He is quiet when he wants to be. He quavers to a different aspect. He is sublime. Mother Ambidextrous is a pure machine, thrown together in the valley of the missing links. She believes in up energy. She takes off her clothes and she wallows in the mud. She likes a fine spring day. Joe is caught in a messianic twitch. A demon sits on each of his shoulders. He builds his empire while the days drag by. He sees magic in numbers. He is a poet. He causes the leaves to stir. Nancy rides a soft cloud. She is taken, swept away by the moon. She is unperturbed by human frailties. She reads the book of Revelations, and she paints pictures of demonic figures on her wall. She lives in a yellow caboose. All things begin in her garden. I will now read excerpts from my latest book entitled Lewis Carroll and the Malboys. House husband. I stick my finger into a socket. I look like the crown prince of nothingness, or like Abby Hoffman unplugged. I vacuum and vacuum and vacuum. The dog comes in. The bills pile up. Poetry writing bites the dust. Not. I eat visions for breakfast, I told him. But obviously he didn't believe me. A horn honked, but I didn't care. The highway will still be there, whether I like it or not. The Time Man. Paid ad for the Time Man. Are you numerologically correct? Do you wish to know why your wife bickers with you so frequently? Call me, the Time Man, at 777-7777, and I will give you the answers you need to know. Another paid ad for the Time Man. The time man delivers. Call me anytime at 777-7777, and I will leave any message, no matter how bizarre, on any machine, no matter how distant, at any time, no matter how obtuse. Another paid ad for the time man. You've heard of those paid ads for Dial a Poem. You can call a hotline number and hear a poem read to you over the phone by a not-so-sexy poet you've never met. But this service is not Dial a Poet. This service is the poet dials you. Call me, the time man, at 777-7777, and I will call you back any time of day when you least expect it, and I will leave a message on your machine that is of no use to you whatsoever. The time man does not rest. The time man does not rest. Most people do jobs they are paid for, but the time man is on duty 24 hours a day. Call him at 777-7777 anytime, and he will tell you what you don't need to know. The time man does psychiatric aid. Are you lonely? Need reassurance about your upcoming jail term or divorce settlement? The time man has the gift of gab. He can talk about almost anything for hours on end, and he's an expert too on almost any topic. Do you wish to know why the Knicks lost to the Pacers in the 1995 Eastern Conference semifinals? Of course you don't. Call me, the time man, anytime at 777-7777, and I will tell you what you don't need to know. The time man of absolutely no use to anyone. It's fun being the time man. Are you lacking fun in your life? Is your life one day after another of the same bus routes, the same highway, the same job, the same pain in the ass roommate, the same Friday night, drunken spree, hippie be-in, fashion dance sprawl, party blowout, and hangover? The time man will be there when you have a hangover, and you don't need to talk with him or anyone. Just call me at 777-7777. The time man is always on call. He has no beeper. He doesn't need a beeper. He is a beeper.
Call me, the time man.